Hidden in the media capital of the world is one of the league's most inspiring stories. Curtis Martin's rise from humble beginnings in the Homewood section of Pittsburgh is a remarkable tale of survival. The same can be said of his NFL career that began with his selection by the Patriots as the 10th running back taken overall in the '95 draft.
Do you remember your first game as a pro?
I remember my first carry. I was questioning myself of whether or not I could play in the NFL. And first play of the game, he gave me the ball.
The handoff is to Curtis Martin, sweeping to the left, cuts it back in the middle, 30, 35, 40. A brilliant run on the first play from scrimmage for Curtis Martin in the National Football League. Is he for real or what?
After that, I felt like there was no way that they could stop me.
Trailing by 5 with 19 seconds left, the Patriots put their fate in the hands of their precocious rookie.
I dove over the top, I got stopped, and I kept my legs pumping. Then I put the ball out over the goal line like that, and we won the game.
Martin's sterling debut had everyone showering him with praise, except for his head coach.
So all the media is around my locker. Parcells walks by my locker. He said, "All of y'all get away from him. Get away from him. He's just a one-game wonder. This is just one game. Let's see if his ASS could keep this up all season." And that's where I gained the tag one game wonder.
How you doing there, Wonder? You all right?
Good,
you
Coach.
just relax.
Yeah,
You're doing great today.
Martin set out to prove he was no one-game wonder. He broke the team record for most rushing yards and touchdowns in a season and was named Rookie of the Year. In his second season, the Patriots made the playoffs. In the New England fog against his hometown Steelers, Martin was determined to show his critics he'd be a sight to see.
We were in the huddle, and the center said, "Kurt, you ain't took the distance all year." He said, "I don't think you can. You ain't got the speed to do it." Drew pitched me the ball. I remember cutting back, and I remember Cornell Lake coming up, and I cut right behind him, and it was off to the races.
Curtis at the 45. He's going to go all the way. 79-yard Patriot touchdown run.
In the biggest game of his life, Martin finished with 166 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Is this everything you expected a playoff game to be?
And more. I can't even talk right now.
Thanks a lot, so it's like.
And I remember just sitting back and saying, you know what? I'll never let anyone tell me what I can't do.
Martin adopted a grueling training program and began thinking about what it would take to become an all-time great.
There's this back. It's not an actual person. It's like this imaginary back. It's like Walter Payton has that durability. Emmett, I love the way he hits the hole, and it's hard to bring him down. And Barry, I love how elusive he is, you know. I feel that if someday a person can bring all 3 of those qualities and put it into one back, that would be like the ultimate back.
He comes pretty close to all of those because he has all of those qualities. He has quickness in the hole. He's been durable, and he can make guys miss.
Oh, that's a thing of beauty, baby! You see him run that rock?
Yet to many, Martin isn't in the same class as Peyton Smith and Sanders, perhaps because he rarely breaks the long run.
He doesn't have breakaway speed. We tease him, we call him a caught from behind Curtis. Because if he seems to get out in the open field, somebody always catches him.
He's not flashy. He's not a flashy back. His big runs are in a 25-yard increments. He's not going to break the 60, 70-yard big run.
You know, I've been around speed a long time. He doesn't have speed, but what he's got is stamina and endurance. And this guy finishes the season stronger than what he starts it at.
A lot of other running backs who have more ability than I have, they're stronger, they're faster, they're bigger. Yet, I feel that I win with my heart.
To see the size of Martin's heart, you needed only to look at the size of his ankles during the 2002 season.
The doctors told me that he doesn't understand how it's humanly possible to play with the ankles that I had. My ankles were so swollen that on this shoe, it would hang over here. Like my ankle would be hanging over the rim of my shoe on both ankles. And it happened in the first game of the season. And I played the entire season with them.
This wasn't his worst injury. In 2000, Martin suffered a near-complete tear of his MCL. In the same game, with the Jets trailing late, he caught the winning touchdown. 3 weeks later, with his ability to run still limited, Martin threw the game-winning score.
Martin with a halfback option. He's got Corbett in the end zone. Touchdown!
It speaks a lot about his threshold, the way he can handle and absorb the pain.
Hey, you took a pound. You all right?
Unlike Peyton Smith and Sanders, Martin's running style makes him a target for the big hit. But it's his refusal to go down that has him chasing their records.
I play with a tenacity that, you're going to have to basically knock me out and kill me for me to give up.
Where's that come from?
My mother.
When I repeat myself again.
We'll meet his mother and discover what he considers his greatest accomplishment later in the show. But when we return, Curtis takes us to his old neighborhood.
Curtis Martin's resilience has earned him great praise on the field. But his most recent honor, the Call to Courage Award, is a tribute to what he has endured off it. Martin's survivor mentality didn't just happen while playing football. It was shaped while growing up in the Homewood section of Pittsburgh.
There's certain places in Pittsburgh that they tell you to stay away from, and those are the places that we're going right now. Some things you wouldn't even imagine happening down here.
For Martin, the unimaginable happened when he was 9 years old in an apartment behind this door.
My grandmother, I used to live with her. I was raised in a single-parent home. We found her murdered. Blood everywhere, neck broke, eyes wide open. Covers was pulled right up to here on her face. Knife was going in her chest, through her heart, sticking out her back into the bed. And my mother, it was my mother's mother, had to actually see her mother lying there like that. What we ended up finding out is after she got murdered, my mother came out and all the media and everyone was around here. We find that the actual guy who did it was actually in the crowd watching my mom. Real freaky stuff, We'll actually see if we can go in there. I'm kind of like over it to whereas it doesn't, affect me in a negative way or make me feel any type of way. I'm sorry.
But once inside, the death of his grandmother was not something he wanted to revisit.
I haven't walked up that hallway since she's been murdered, so I don't think it's just not something I want to do. Yeah. Before my grandmother got murdered, she gave me this $2 bill, and she wrote, "Good luck to you," on it. Every game, even when I was in high school, I kept this $2 bill in my sock. If there was times where I came out for a game, it was like, oh, I didn't put my $2. I would run back in the locker room and miss something so that I could go and have that $2 bill in my sock.
Martin lost the $2 bill during a game, but he still holds on to the memory of his grandmother. By Curtis's count, she is among the 35 friends and family members who have been killed in Pittsburgh.
I've seen a lot of deaths. I've escaped death so many times. I've had so many bullets fly by me.
You told a couple stories there that would just, God, made your hair stand on end. I mean, because I wanted to ask you about some of those things. Those were, whew.
But you can ask anything. There's nothing, nothing's off limits, man.
All right. What's the closest you ever came to death?
There's so many situations where I know my life could have been gone. I had a guy put a gun to my head, and his exact words was, "You're dead." And he pulls the trigger and nothing comes out. Pulls the trigger again, nothing comes out. He puts the gun in back of my head, pulls the trigger, nothing comes out. Puts it in front of my face, pulls the trigger a few times, nothing comes out. Not pointing the gun at me, pulls the trigger, the bullet comes out. After you look death in the face and you survive, it makes you start thinking. It makes the wheels churn. It makes you say, you know what, that just wasn't luck. You know, I just used to think I was the luckiest man in the world because everyone else would get killed or shot or be in jail or whatever it may be. And I seem to always escape. Now I've just taken that ability to escape and put it on the football field.
What had you done to get yourself in that situation where...
We can't talk about that, but I wasn't always an angel, you know. I didn't try to be no bad, tough guy either. I mean, you learn to survive.
Was there a defining moment growing up when you made a decision that you were going to go this way instead of that way?
The defining incident that made me just say, I gotta do it, was that I couldn't sleep. I would have these dreams that I was always getting killed. And I had this one dream in particular. I'm trapped. I'm like on a dead-end alleyway, but the sun is shining on me real bright, and all I could see is a guy's arm from here with a gun on the end of it. And before he would pull the trigger, you know, I'd never look at him. I'd look up to the sky, and this voice, and what I perceived as God, would yell from the sky, "Kurt, duck your head." I would duck my head as he would pull the trigger. He would always miss me, but after every shot, I would turn around and look at the wall, and he'd hit my shadow in the head. Going to sleep was so horrible for me that I just said, look, if this guy in my dream is God, who's been protecting me, at least before I die, I have to go to any church, wherever, and just tell this dude, thank you. So I come to this church right here, and when I came in, you know, people looked at me like, wow, the devil was in church. That was the beginning of a complete turnaround in my life.
Let's go. Y'all heard what Coach Herman said. We got to fight today. Get a W. We ain't going to leave without fighting.
The source of Martin's fighting spirit has always been his mother, Rochella.
My mother's been through a lot. She's been through hell and back to hell and back again. So to see her overcome things, just to put clothes on my back, that means everything to me.
And Curtis meant everything to Rochella. His presence inspired her to persevere during the lowest point in her life.
How did Curtis help you recover from the murder of your mother?
I had a thing I was going through, crying all the time. And one day he sat down and he said to me, "Ma, if you get sick, who's going to raise me?" And when he said that, it really, really touched me. And I didn't want nobody raising my child. I wanted to raise Curtis myself.
She had to work 2 and 3 jobs, though. So she didn't get home till around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But my mother couldn't afford a babysitter. From kindergarten, I was 5 years old, actually. I used to sit in the window and just watch everyone else play. And to this day, she says that's what broke her heart. Many nights, you know, I had to eat syrup sandwiches and oatmeal.
What's a syrup sandwich?
Syrup sandwich is this. You know, take a piece of bread, Town Talk or Wonder Bread, that's what tastes best. And you take some Aunt Jemima syrup, fold the bread over into a sandwich, and you eat it.
These are the responsibilities that Kurt had. I mean, at 6 and 7, he was paying light and gas bills. And he knew that nothing better be short, everything better be on the money.
I got a lot of beatings.
Stop it.
I did. I got a lot of beatings. But,
from your mom?
Oh my gosh. From who else? Golly, this woman used to. Oh, I mean, it's cool. But when I was in 11th grade, we're up at the school. She said, "Shut up!" Man, I'll tell you, and you know, when you're Mr. Popular in high school and your mother smack you in your face in front of the entire classroom, that was probably my most embarrassing moment.
Oh, yeah.
In my entire
He
life.
called up everybody in the United States and told them. You know, one day I was beating him with a Kool-Aid pitcher.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid pitcher.
A Kool-Aid pitcher?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my senior year of high school, mind you. So go ahead.
I said, when I tell you something, I mean just what I say. Ma, I got so much pressure on me. I have so much pressure on me. I said, well, what pressure do you have on me? He couldn't even tell me.
But you know what it was? I just felt like I cannot listen to another yell from this woman. You know, I can't hear her. I don't want to hear another word come out of this woman's mouth. And I'll tell you, that is the one most memorable moment in my entire life, because it was the first time in my life that I've ever stood up to my mother.
Mm-hmm. As I sit back today and I look, and you know, sometimes I cry about it, that the pressure that I put on him, it wasn't fair.
And to be honest, a lot of times I felt that my mom was just one of the angriest, bitterest women in the world. I've never held her bitterness against her, but she definitely took a lot of it out on me. But at the same time, I wouldn't take one day of it back, because it's helped me be obedient and helped me be disciplined in my life as a man. Pulled up this shotgun.
Growing up, Curtis Martin used his running ability to elude danger. But during one of his escapes, he ran into more trouble.
I went somewhere back here, but there was a pole sticking up out of the ground. The pole went straight through my legs, came out like almost on the side of my butt. My mother seen all these things going on around me. And so she said, you just got to do something. You know, it's inevitable, something's going to happen if you're out there.
Grudgingly, during his senior year of high school, he signed up for football. And there, he met Coach Mark Whitgardner.
Mark was that first male positive role model in my life. If he said something, I'd listen. Greatest man in the world.
No, here's the greatest man.
Whitgardner believed in Martin's talent at a time when Curtis's closest friends did not.
I was like, man, you can't play no football. So I went to one of the games. Man. He trucked this one dude so hard. Boom, he's running the rock. Boom, he's taking it like 100 yards. I'm like, oh my God. So I like, man, that's one-time thing. He do it again, and he just started killing them. And I was like, damn. Ever since then, he surprised me from Alderdice to Pitt to New England to New York. We talking like, this dude is a Hall of Famer. This is so weird to me, man. I mean, how you gonna have a friend, man? I look at him like Lil Kirk, and that's my man.
Martin has been well-liked everywhere he's gone. He is one of the most popular and respected players among his peers. And he has long since won over his hard-to-please former coach, Bill Parcells.
Curtis Martin is the kind of player that inspires me to coach better. And when you develop a relationship with a player like that, it motivates me to give everything of myself to that player.
Take it easy, man.
Martin wants to make his biggest impact off the field. When a young fan he didn't know sent him a birthday party invitation, he went. And when his old coach lost his son in a skydiving accident, Curtis was there to comfort him.
The priest that I talked to said, who do you know that's the closest person to God? And it was Kurt, and that's the person I called, and it really helped me immensely.
I use football as a vehicle to impact people's lives. That means everything to me. I've gotten more than a second chance at life, and I realized that I've been blessed with a God-given talent to play football. What I've learned to do is maximize every opportunity that I get in life, and football just happens to be one of those opportunities. To be a man of integrity, to be a man of good character, means everything to me. To me, a good name is better than all the money, all the fame that NFL or anyone else can offer me.
Curtis Martin will be remembered as a tremendous football player, a Hall of Famer, maybe have more yards than anybody. But that's going to pale compared to his legacy of his character.
Oh, that's the retired one.
When Curtis Martin goes into your life, you become a better person for it. I'll give this to you the day that you make the Hall of Fame.
All right, that's a deal.
All right?
The man who dedicated himself to improving other people's lives made his greatest impact on the woman who's closest to him.
I am a mother that is so blessed. Take out the money, the fame, does not compare to the type of son that God let me have. With all the tragedy, all the abuse that I did to him, my son have changed my life around so much. I just want to say this, that's even with his father.
I said, you've been bitter like this for I don't know how many years because of this man who has been out of both of our lives since I was 4 years old. I was like, he's ruined enough of your life. Why let him ruin any more? Forgive him. And she did.
And I did. And from that day on, something just like left from me, the anger and bitterness that I had.
I've never even thought, that I could have peace and happiness in my life. I'm a very secure man, very peaceful man, no hard-heartedness in my heart. It's like you could have told me I would be a multi-billionaire before you could told me I would achieve that. And then to take it beyond that and help my mother achieve that, that's my greatest accomplishment.